about the same number, about 4 or 5 people.
Right. Some of the ditches would.
The ducks. No, get off my property. So anyway, you do what you can, but I like it when it dries out a bit, and then I like it. Lakes and rivers are able to hold a lot of ducks, and that's a lot of fun too.
I love those days. I had so much fun duck hunting and goose hunting when I was a kid. I mean, it was like during that season, that's all I could think of.
Yeah, K7WZ for ID. Yeah, that's like I said, I had this one favorite memory of my dog Kate was a yellow lab, and Molly was, or Belle was my son's dog, his first dog he had, and we went hunting out in the boat, and it was evening came along, sun went down and immediately turned cold. The dogs are sitting there. Just before it was totally dark, so we couldn't hunt anymore. Sitting there watching the ducks come in, and ice on their backs, and their ducks are sticking to the rail of the boat and everything else, and just brought back memories. And watched the sunset and heard the ducks. You could see them in the moonlight, and we just sat and watched the last 2 flocks come into in land, and never took a shot at them before, still shooting time. And just after shooting time, we just watched another hour of flight after flight after flight of ducks coming in land, and it was really neat.
My buddy Bill and I, we always used to think, those ducks were wearing watches because they always knew. And we watched the closing time right to the minute. And as soon as the minute hit,
what time you start shooting and the time you quit?
Guys can't shoot now. Let's go into the pond. We'll land right next to them. It's absolutely insane. Like they have a built-in clock in their head.
Yeah, well, I'm working on the new dog now. I'm in test, and she's come along pretty good. She's only 6 months old. She's a little bit young to hunt this year. She's not steady enough to hunt. I got to have her steady up a bit more, and that's coming along. So next year, I'll probably take her out and hunt her. She's doing real good. She has a real good nose. We play a lot out in the field, and she goes after dummies. And she'll every now and then she'll breaks, and she kind of ticks or jerks her back to a stop. But she's learning. She's able to hold her ground until I give her the command to fetch it up. So the command is her name, and I guide her with my hand, with my left hand, put over her the direction I want her to go, and then call her name and just lift the hand up, and she goes that direction.
At what point, this is a question, I have no idea. At what point do you break her into the noise of a shotgun? Within 6 months, or later on next year when you train her, or what?
I broke her into the gunshot just when I brought her home. What I do is I put down food for them, just get their attention on it, and then bang pan, making loud noises, anything you can do. And then you gradually get into 22 blanks, and then I have a train-out retriever that's a launcher, a 22, it takes a 22 launch, 22 blank, and like a long rifle blank, and it throws the dummy out about 150 yards. Introduce the noise, get 50 yards away from them, and just bang pans together. You can, or take gunshot and the little 22 short blank is what I started with, and send it about 50 yards away from her, and then pop that blank as my wife sends her out to retrieve her Kong, or her tennis ball. with a the chuck-it thrower that has we exercise with that. And, anything we get her to do is to retrieve and bring them back.
Very interesting. I've always wondered how you break them into the noise. I've never heard that before. I never knew how to do it.
Hey, Marty, if you're looking for a chew toy for Tess that's really affordable, go on Amazon and look up water buffalo horn. They're between $5 and $8, and they last for years. Over.
Yeah, well, I haven't bought water buffalo horn, something like that, but we've gotten their hooves of cow hooves, and right now we got the cow cheeks. What it is? It's a leather chewy, and in the morning she wants to bring her Kong, and that is just her main favorite toy to be. Take out in the field with my wife goes out in the field we exercise her in, and she takes to the chuck-it thrower with her and puts a Kong inside the chuck-it and chucks that thing out there, and the dog feeds it for an hour. And then what we do is put peanut butter in with the cow cheeks. What it is, rolled up cow cheek, the whole head, eye of the head of the cow. And they roll it up, and she likes to put a little peanut butter on the end of that thing, and she'll sit there and chew on it, and chew on it, chew on it. And she went through one, and then we got her second one, and she likes that thing like real good.
Yeah, roger that. Well, I know I was buying deer antlers, and they got to be expensive, like $14 for a 6-inch piece of deer antler. And the dog goes through it right away. I mean, in less than a month, the thing's practically gone. But these water buffalo horns last and last. Over.
You have deer around there. Yeah, to walk around in the woods with your dog. She'll find her own antler. Mine did, and they're free at that time.
Oh yeah, roger that. Of course, Cindy wouldn't like it if I cut up some of her mounts. Over.
No, like I say, these are sheds that fall off the deer at the end of the year. So, and just in the early spring, just take her into the woods, and they'll find the sheds that drop.
Roger that. There's a guy over in Troy, Montana, who's got a nice little home business doing that.
Yeah, that's the son-in-law and daughter goes over in Eastern Washington every year, and up and around the Yakima, in the feeding station, they open that thing up, and so people go around for the sheds that drop off the elk and deer around that area because it's a feeding station. Of course, there's all kinds of them around. It's open for the weekend, and there's a lot of people that go into it, and like I say, they can keep everything they can.
Roger that. You might be aware that in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, the Boy Scouts collect the elk antlers and sell them to the Asians every year at an auction for aphrodisiacs. Over.
Oh, yeah, they've done that for years, I think. Yeah, the Boy Scouts have done that for a long time in Montana and elsewhere. The hides, we used to cook the hides for the Boy Scouts also. When I was in Boy Scouts, we used to collect the hides, turn them over to tanners, and then they'd make leather gloves out of them and everything else. So that's been going on a long time.
Yeah, I think our local hide and steel company will trade a deer hide for a new pair of gloves. Over.
That's what we used to do. They give us a brand new set of work gloves with the leather gloves for your hide, and that's what. Didn't matter how many hides you brought in, but we get one set of gloves.
I was telling Frank, I bought some cowhide work gloves a little while ago, and they were billed as extra heavy-duty fencing gloves. They had reinforced fingers, really thick leather. At first, you couldn't even make your hand into a fist. But after I've worn them for about 2-3 months now, they've gotten pretty comfortable, and they're the heaviest fingered gloves I've ever had.
You know, I like those things a lot. I know what you mean about having to work them in, but like I say, you put them, you get them wet, and that's the best way to break them in. You put them wet, you wet them, soak them in water, and let them dry on your hand, and they soften right up. And like I say, you have to let them dry on your hand, or else there's nothing working on wire fences or metal at all. You have to have leather gloves with tying rebar. I remember we've had leather gloves for doing that, and we go through a leather gloves every week. Sometimes in doing the jobs I had.
Do you guys have problems getting the right size of glove for your hands? Because I'll order them off Amazon once in a while, but I learned you'd have to get the XXL, and I only have a medium hand. I don't have big hands. But if you say, oh, okay, I'll get large. Well, large are too tight. They just won't fit right. I have to get the XXL so I got room in them to flex the fingers and stuff.
Well, my problem is my hands are so large that the XXL are still small, so I have to break them. I have to, like I say, wet them down and get them, stretch them out, and you do that with them so that they're the right size.
My complaint, I mentioned this to Frank before, is they have a card that tell you about that the gloves are attached to. And it's usually attached to the right hand, so you can't get your right hand in that glove. You got to stick your left hand in the other glove. But most people, their right hand is a little bigger.
That's right. My right hand is quite a bit larger than my last one, especially now. And my right foot is bigger than my left one. So. Like I say, my right foot wear a shoe a half size bigger. I could swear a half size bigger on my right side than the left side.
That might be true with me, but I've never noticed it, so I can't say.
Well, I know my son-in-law. He goes to White's, is it White's shoe store in Spokane or something like that, because he has to get specially fitted shoes because one foot's a little different than the other.
Yeah, White's boots are really good boots.
Yeah, I used to order your White's, and all you do is order them out of the catalog. So I used to pull up the White catalog and order from that. And I ordered those things for years. I like the old leather gloves. It's a lot better. It's a little bit it's more supple, and it's a little more elasticity to it. It holds up a little bit better than the cowhide.
Pig skin works pretty good.